you a little background on this case. On December the 3rd, 1987, about 5:15 p.m., deputies with the sheriff's office responded to a resident in the Pauline area. They were called about a burglary, and they get there and find that it was much more than a burglary. It was a kidnapping, a criminal sexual conduct, and an aggravated assault case. Some of the details include the lady comes home from work, and she goes into her home, and somebody throws something like a tablecloth or something like that over her head, hits her in the head with a hammer a few times, and it's only by God's grace alone that she's not dead. He is proceeding to sexually assault this lady. And her fiance, Mr. James Larry Smith, comes home after work to see his fiance, and he was brutally attacked. He stayed in a coma until April the 16th of 1988, where he passed of his injuries. This is one of those cases. For 31 years, the family had no idea who did what. They knew somebody had done it, but they didn't know who. And it turns out that it was somebody in the close proximity of where these victims lived that actually committed this crime. I want you to know, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Smith was a Marine veteran. So, I mean, you got a really good guy that went to serve this country and comes home and is assaulted and killed by somebody on his own soil. And we're sorry. We're sorry for his loss, for sure. We're sorry for the victim of the criminal sexual conduct. And you know, when I went out with the team the other day, there's two girls over there. When I went over to see the lady, her first thing that she said to me, she said, "It's finally over, isn't it?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, it's finally over." I cannot imagine. I just can't imagine having that on my mind all the time. When you're sitting at church, you don't know if there's somebody in church with you. You know, if you're at work, you don't know if there's somebody that works with you. That's got to be very heavy on her, and it's certainly very heavy for the Smith family not to know the reasons why. I don't have a motive. I wish I had a motive, but I don't have a motive. We collected evidence on the scene. It was sent to SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. At the time, we didn't have a profile to match it against, but since advanced technologies have come our way, we were able. I don't know how SLED does what they do, but they have a different process, and they were able to identify the person who actually did this. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of this gentleman, and I want you to know that it's not the person's family's fault. This is just a terrible choice, a terrible act by one person. The gentleman that we found out that did this crime was a Roger Wayne Switzer. He died. He lived in the Pauline area as well. He died in 2008. So it's a picture of the gentleman that committed both of these crimes. And you know, I tell you what's impressive to me. I was speaking with both parties, the victim of the criminal sexual conduct and the murder victim's family. Both of them told me that they wished they were praying for the Switzer family. So I want y'all to hear that. And I'm going to tell you that's a bigger deal than you know, because it's easy to build up hate for somebody that takes loved ones or just hurts your loved ones, much less take them. So I applaud both of these families for their commitment to sticking with King Jesus. Because that's the only thing that'll get you through anything like this. You can't depend on facts. You can't depend on yourself. You know, Jesus is the only way you can get by things like this. I want you to know that we pray about stuff around here a lot. We pray for breaks in cases, and we certainly get them. And we also pray that we put the right people in the right spots. And we absolutely did that. Diane Lessons and Lorraine Paella, they have just been incredible pursue these leads, you know, that are this old. And I do know a lot of other people that think that these older cases can't be solved, but they can. They can be. I don't know why bad things happen to good people, but I do know that it's our job to do the best we can. I'm very proud of the team that we've assembled, and, you know, when it comes to their supervisors, their coworkers, and, you know, everybody helps, and, I'm just very proud of what they've been able to accomplish. Now, I need you all to hear this too. This ain't over for the Smith family or the other victim. This is just another step in the healing process. You know, this is, a lot of times this makes it almost worse. For it to be this long and then it be brought up again, it just cuts open new wounds. And, you know, I was able to talk with Jerry, and, you know, he and I have something in common. I lost a brother and he's lost a brother, but certainly mine was nowhere in the close proximity of what happened to his. And so many things you miss with your brother. There's so many things that you accomplish. You want to go poke your brother in the shoulder and go see what I did. You know, and he was all that was taken away from him and his family. And we just want to say thank you to the Lord for letting us be able to get this case solved. And, we are praying for the Switzer family. We don't hold no ill will certainly toward them. And I don't think matter of fact, I'm 100% sure they knew nothing about it, because if they did, they would have told. They would have said something. I don't know what kind of questions I can answer in more details, but I will certainly try at this point.
What was the evidence that brought us to this point? I mean, it was DNA evidence?
Yeah, it was body fluids.
All right, and that was kept a long time, of
Yes, sir.
course, and I guess what was the process? Somebody said, okay, was it just a random sweep of DNA, or did they target?
No, they processed the scene. They're looking for certain things when they go in, especially a criminal sexual conduct and an assault. So they were looking for certain things, and they were able to collect it. Yes, ma'am?
So that I can understand, you said initially the killer was attacking Smith's fiance.
Yes.
Can you just better explain that? Was there any believed relation between the two of them initially, or what is the background on that?
This Switzer gentleman didn't live very far away, and I don't have a way of answering that question because he's passed. But I do know that something was put over her head, and she was assaulted on several occasions. She was actually taken to the basement and tied up while he went to assault Mr. Smith. And she was able to free herself, and a good Samaritan, by God's grace, picked her up, and that's when it got everything started with us being there. So, yes, sir.
The article in the Associated Press calls him a neighbor. Is that accurate? Were they next door neighbors, or did
Yeah, he just lived in the same neighborhood.
Did he continue to live there after?
Yes, sir.
Was he ever questioned back then?
Back in 1987, brother, I had been on the sheriff's department probably 9 months. So I don't know. I mean, in their notes, we didn't see a canvas of the area or any of those things. And, you know, since then, we've obviously learned that there's so many things we should be doing in neighborhoods, and we didn't see any evidence that this was done. It may have solved it then, I don't know. Then again, it may not have.
Did the fact that Switzer died, did that help lead to the fact to where we are today with the DNA being linked?
You'll have to ask Sled on the process of that, man. They talk in terms that my little old mind can't understand when it comes to that DNA stuff.
So what happened within recent months or weeks for this announcement to come now? Was it, that would be?
We had the different process that SLED does, not just a comparison. It's really easy if you find somebody, like if I cut my finger on a crime scene and you got my blood, and then somebody says, well, I think Chuck did that. So they compare, they get some DNA from me, and then they compare it, and if it's a match, then off to the races we go. But we didn't have that in this case.
So it's new technology or
Yes,
a new
sir.
process that they?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Ma'am, did I answer your question fair enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
So you don't want to talk about, call them cold cases, just old cases.
That's right.
What's your backlog like? Are you going to SLED with other cases that you might be able to
Yes.
make connections now?
Yes, sir. We have to have DNA left on the scene, and there's some that just don't have anything. Some we do. So we're gonna try that process as much as we can. So, yeah, I don't, until a case is closed, it's just an old case. And there's some cases that we know what happened, we can't prove it, and that's about as far as it's gonna go. But with this new technology, especially prayer, man, prayer works. Prayer works.
How does it make you feel to be able to come to these families and say, hey, and I know closure is an overused term, but we've closed this case, here it is. What's it make you feel like that
It
you're?
makes me feel worthy. It makes me feel like all the things that we bang our head against the wall, finally we're getting through a little bit. You know, it's kind of melancholy, but I mean, it's a happy event, so that, you know, they can finally put that to rest. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't solve anything. Those two girls over there did. I'm very proud of the team that we've assembled over there. They're, you know, if you've committed a crime in Spartanburg County and left anything that we might know you by, you might as well come on in here and confess, because they're gonna catch you. So you can go ahead and take the burden off of yourself. And, you know, when you commit crimes like that, that's heavy. That makes you not have a peaceful life, and it causes other problems in your life, so.
Did the Smith and his fiance know Switzer?
Just acquaintances, I mean, not personally, didn't go out to dinner with him or anything like that, just, you know, knew him in passing.
So she was not able to give any sort of.
No, he spoke once, and you know, she got hit in the head with a hammer a few times too. I won't tell you, I don't understand, it was only by God's grace she's not dead as well.
Were we able to find any past other situations similar to this with Switzer, or is this is only?
No. Hadn't yet. I mean, I'm gonna keep my options open, and, you know, I'm certain this is pretty devastating to their family too. You know, I mean, trust me, I don't wanna take all the blame off anybody, none of that mess, but I'm just telling you that it's gotta be very terrible to find out that someone that you cared for and loved was able to commit a crime like this and kind of keep it hid for that long.
We know that he died in 2008 from a heart attack. What was his career? I mean, what did he do?
I don't have any idea. But they have asked that we, you know, respectfully let them have their privacy. They're grieving in the morning as well. So, I think I'm gonna, Mr. Smith, I think, Jerry, you wanna come up and say anything? This is, Chuck's brother. He wanted to address you guys.
They ask you the same questions I asked.
Yes, sir.
Just mainly wanted to say thank you to the Sheriff's Department for working on this case, not giving up on this case. 31 years is a long time, and it's, Chuck says, it gives us some closure, it's not over, but, you know, at least, we got some closure. Who did it, don't know why, probably never know. But I did want to publicly thank the sheriff and his crew for just their diligent work and staying and solving this case. Over the years, I've been asked many times from people, friends, that, do I think the Sheriff's Department's really working on this? Do they really want to solve this case? And I've always told them, I said, outside the family, I'm satisfied there's nobody more wanting to solve it than they are. And they did. I thank y'all so much.